Hello, Avinash. Good afternoon. How are you doing today? Avinash, you are doing good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Good to
Fine.
know.
Thank
Great. I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. So let's wait for a couple of more minutes so that more people can join us and then we'll start. Okay?
Sure. Sir.
Okay, awesome. So any question from the last lecture or anything you want to know? Are you following the lectures? You have any
Yes.
issues? You have any suggestion? Yes, please.
No, sir. Everything is good.
Everything is good. You are following the lectures through.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Okay, let's wait for a couple of minutes. I'm sorry for this, but today I'm going to start with a new topic, so I thought that we may have a few more people to join us. So do you feel that you are following the coding exercise also?
Yes. Sir.
Okay,
I can follow the PHP and everything.
say it again.
I can follow those codes, sir.
Okay,
The
very
commands,
good,
whatever you mean.
very good. So have
Also,
you got the code downloaded into your own terminal?
yes, from the gate.
From Git, okay, good, very good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome.
Uh, instruct. Okay.
So I'm still waiting for a few more people to join us. Okay, Dinesh is here. Dinesh normally joins us pretty early, but today he got a little bit late. Hey Dinesh, welcome to the class. So I see that today you have got a little bit late. Is it okay?
Yes, Professor. It's
Okay,
okay.
great. So let's start. Okay. So today we want to do PHP classes, right? So we want to see that how classes are made in PHP, right? And I will go over in detail that how do we make the class, right? And before we go ahead and make a class, let me do one more thing with you. Let me share with my screen. So as I mentioned earlier, that the basics of object-oriented programming, let me pick up my pen, can be summarized as apple pie. And this first thing over here is abstraction. Right? First thing over here is abstraction, right? What do we mean by abstraction? That, for example, as we did our system study, we came across various nouns. Some of the nouns, got absorbed into other nouns, right? So, and we understood this thing that there are certain entities in our system, right, which are going to have certain attributes, like, for example, name, ID, address, phone number, email address, password, right? And there are certain and these certain entities are going to have functions also. So these are like good candidates to become a class. So, or you can say these are good candidates to be abstracted into a class, right? So abstraction is the first and foremost important thing. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. So abstraction is, the foremost thing and foremost important thing in object-oriented programming, right? So the deal here is that once we have identified this thing that, okay, this is some entity within within our system which needs to have some kind of template, because all of these entities are going to have same kind of attributes and they need to have same kinds of actions associated with them. So we say, okay, let's abstract them all into a class, right? So what is class? That class will have the aggregation. So class will have the aggregation of the entire attributes and the code which is related to that class, right? So in today's lecture, I want to tell you that how can we make a class, and making a class is definitely a great fun once you know about its ins and outs, right? So let's do it. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready, guys?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
wonderful, great. So let's do it. So we come over here. So here I have generated a folder, PHP classes, right? And let me create a new file over here and let me make a class user, right? So let me name this file class. So it is convention that once we want to put a class into a file, we start its name by class, right? So we say class dot user, right? And class name is always singular. Always remember that it is a convention that class name is always a singular, right? And since, so it should be like class.user.php, right? For example, sometimes people have this tendency that they make it like inc, like include file, right? So like for example inc, let me make an inc file and show you, let me show you that what could be an issue with it, right? So maybe php tag, and here say this is our variable uh, 1 is equal to something. Now this is PHP code, right? We don't want somebody to see this code, right? Because this is server-side code, and server-side code is definitely our business logic, business secret. We don't want anybody to see it, right? Let's go to the browser. And go to the browser, and within the browser, we say localhost object-oriented summer 2020, and here we have this PHP classes, and here we have class.user.inc, right? And this particular browser actually, kind of gave us a favor that it did not show the code, right? But for example, if I do the same thing with Internet Explorer, for example, or maybe with the Edge, let me give it a try with Edge. All right, so I come over here with Edge. So Edge has also protected us, did not show us the code, right? So let me go and say Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer, right? So let me open it. So .inc, right? And here, even Internet Explorer is also protecting us to show this, right? So this is good, but definitely we can go into settings and see the contents of the file in action. So the point here is that there could be, I don't want to spend more time into it, but there could be like certain browsers in which you can see the code. I'm sorry, I could not show it to you in these browsers, and I don't want to spend more time, but the point here is that don't, name it .inc, right? Always name it .php, right? So we come back over here and rename this file to .php. So we come here and come to this and maybe rename it. And where is the rename? So here we rename it as PHP file, right? Okay, so now within this file, we need to have a class. And one more thing, since I'm going to make like one class, which would be very rough, right? And you should be able to reach it, in various ways. And then I will kind of refine the concept. And as I will refine the concept, I will number it like class user one, class user two, class user three, right? So let me name it class.user1.php, right? So let me come over here and let me rename it class.user1.php, right? And here we make a class, right? So this is the class template over here. And basically here we need to have the name of the class. Say, for example, we say that name of the class is user, right? So class name is always singular normally and always capital case, right? So first letter is always capital, right? And you can have camel case also here, or capitalized camel case. Okay, so now this is the user and this is the constructor function. Does anybody know that what is a constructor function?
It will first call like
So constructor once, you can say this thing. Look, for example, let me go to my notepad. Say, for example, we are having a class, right? So this is, for example, this is a class. So maybe let's name it. Its name is user. Its name is user. So we are going to have various instances of this class. Maybe I would have a user whose name is maybe Ankit. We may have another user whose name is, for example, Kamilish, right? We may have another user. So as I will create these different users, these users are known as instances of this class, right? So as I will create instances of this class, so the first thing happens is that this constructor runs, right? What happens that this constructor runs, right? And this constructor runs to do housekeeping chores, which include and greatly include the initialization of the various attributes within the class, right? So let me, for example, create a few attributes of the class, right? And then you would be able to understand it better. So we come over here and say, for example, we think over this thing that, hey, what an attribute, what could be an attribute of a user? For example, every user is going to have an ID, right? Every user is going to have an ID. So we come over here, we say dollar ID. Now, as I say dollar $ID, so this is an issue over here. Once this variable ID is being created within this class, once this variable ID is being created within this class, we need to specify this thing that how are we going to access. Let me just, remove this argument thing over here. It is good. So let me remove this also, this ID over here, just to show that there is no error, right? But as soon as I put it back, so this error is being indicated. So the deal here is that as I want to give an attribute within the class, I need to mention that what is its access type. Is it accessible from within this class only, or can it be accessible from outside the class also? Say, for example, if I want this particular attribute to be accessible from outside the class, so I can say, I can come over here and I can say that this particular attribute is public, right? So I say public ID. So basically this class now understands this thing, that this particular variable or this particular attribute ID is accessible from outside the class, right? Getting me? Okay. So once we say that this is public ID, what other attribute could a user have? Please.
Private.
Protected, public,
No, no,
private, and
that is the access type. So its access types could be, you're right. Its access types could be private and could be protected, right? And since we are talking about these words like private and protected, right? So I would like to know this thing, that do you know that what do you mean by private?
yeah, it will access only the class.
Right? So once we say that an attribute is private, it means that it can only be accessed from within the class, right? You cannot reach it outside the class, right? You cannot reach it outside the class. It can only be accessed from within the class, right? Okay, very good. So once we say that if a variable is protected, what does it mean?
It will access to the same package.
Say it again.
It will access to the same package. If we create the folder, so the protected variable you can use in this same folder.
No, 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 no. Here you got it little bit wrong. So no problem. You are here to learn it. Anybody else? So once we say that a particular attribute is protected, it can be accessed from within the class or children of that class. Once we will learn inheritance, we will get to know that what are child classes. So it can be accessed from within the same class or children classes of this particular class, right? So for the time being, I'm saying that it is public, but I was asking that what other attributes this particular user could have.
Username, user address.
Yes, so here we can have maybe first name, right? So we say public dollar first name, and PHP says that use underscores as separators, right? PHP does not support, sport is not a matter of sport, does not recommend camel case, right? Okay, and then we say it has another public dollar last name, right? Maybe another thing, public dollar email, right? Maybe another one, public dollar password, right guys? So these are various attributes which this particular user can have. What do you think about it? Right? So let's make this simple class and let's try to use it. So for example, I come over here in the same folder and I create a new file index1.php, right? So because I would be making so many of them, so I have made one user1.php, right? And now I'm making this file index1.php. Right guys, you're happy, right? And I come over here and I say that I put basic HTML structure. So I say HTML, and here I put h1 understanding PHP classes, right? Let me open this page in browser. Right, understanding PHP classes, right? Okay, we come over here and at the top we open a PHP tag, right? So this is the PHP tag, and here we create a user. We create what? We create a user. So we come over here, we say dollar user one, user underscore one is equal to new user, right? Is equal to new user. So this is how we can create a user. But as we will execute it, it will be an error, right? So let me show you this error, because you are going to see this error one day or the other, rather on the first day of your doing PHP. So this is the error. What does this error say? This error says that class user not found, right? So it was unable to find this class user. So what should we do over here? We can come over here and say, yes, anybody, any suggestion?
Give the file name from there.
Yes, require once, right? And whatever the file is, what is the name of the file? So class dot user1 dot php, right? So this is the name of the class which we must have it, right? So let's come over here and reload it, right? So that, error has gone. Okay, so we come back over here. So we have got this user one. Say for example, we want to reach into its ID and set that ID, right? So we can reach at this like this dollar user one, not I, user one, arrow operator, right? And arrow will tell us that what do we want to reach. For example, we want to reach ID, right? So we say ID is equal to how much? Maybe 5, right? And then we want to reach its first name. So we say user1 arrow first name is equal to uh, Menthon, right? And then we can reach its last name. We say dollar user1 last name is equal to maybe uh, Patel, right? And then we can make some email address. So dollar user1, we want to reach its email is equal to any email, right? And then we come over here, we say dollar user1, and we can have the password set. Password is equal to maybe blank screen, blank string, right? So, or maybe a few spaces here. So we reached into this user, and we have initialized these variables, or inner attributes of for this particular class. And now if we want to use them over here, maybe in our page, right? Just humble start, and definitely we will turn into a good project, so that you will understand that whatever we are doing over here, it is going to start making sense, right? So don't worry about it. So for now, I just want to teach you that how do you make a class, right? Say for example, I open a PHP tag over here, and maybe I can put this PHP tag within a paragraph. Let me cut this PHP tag from here and put it into a paragraph, right? And here I can say echo first name and then dot, which is string concatenation, right, in PHP, dot, and here we can have this first name. Right, and then we can have another dot, and we can have a break tag, right, for the next line, right? So let me copy this all, paste it. Maybe we want to have the last name. And here we want to say last name. What was the next thing? Email. So here we say email. And here we can say email. Right? And then we can come back over here and we can say for example, password. And here we can have the password. Right? So this particular class had ID, first name, last name, email, password, right? So come back over here. No, let's close it. This is not related to you. So coming back over here in HTML, in index.php file, right? And here we have got this password, right? And these are 4 things. So let's have ID also printed on the top. So we can have echo and maybe ID, and here we can have ID. Right? So here we can have ID. Okay. So once we have done so, right, now we can reach them, and let's see that we are not having any trouble over here. So we come back over here, reload the page, and you can see that all these things as expected are being printed. Any questions so far? Let me do one more thing over here. So I can come over here and I can say $user1 username. Let's make a single word. Username is equal to man p, right? Any username, right? So just give any username, right? And now if we want, we can even print the username also. Save it.
Type.
And
Spelling was wrong.
Yeah, spelling was in the when you declare the variable.
oh, sorry. Thank you. Right. So very good. Thank you very much for paying attention. So we come back over here and you can have the username also. Watch this thing. So look, in our class, if I go to my class, there was no username. Whereas over here, this user is going to have username also. So deal over here is that if you already know languages like C++ or Java, those are strict type languages, right? They follow a strict structure, whereas languages like JavaScript and PHP, they are not strict type languages, they are loose type languages, right? And there, if you want, you can put, if you have not, prohibited that language to do so, you can have these attributes on the fly, right? So you had an object of the class. Originally, the class, by itself was not having that attribute, but as you said so, this attribute has been created for that particular user or for that particular instance of that user class. So if you want to prevent this thing, definitely I'm going to teach you this thing, that how can you prevent it. But I just want to tell you this thing, that within the language, this is a preview available, that if you want, you can have an extra attribute without having it within the class template. Any questions so far? Right? So this is, so I can write this thing over here in an extra paragraph, that this is default behavior of PHP that we can make why is this happening? We can make extra attributes for an object if we have not denied them, right? Which we will see later on. Right, guys? Any question? Right, so basically we have seen this thing, that how can we access various attributes, right? Okay, now let's do one more thing. That normally it happens that we love to put all these attributes within an array, right? Instead of putting, okay, yeah, so instead of putting them into separate variables, we put them into an array. But before we go ahead and put them into an array, let me tell you one more thing, that if we want, we can design this constructor such that upon the creation of this object, as this object was created, right, there was no ID, there was no first name, there was no last name, and we actually set them all after the creation in line number 3, right? So for example, if we don't do these things over here, if we just comment it out, save it, and we run our code, you'll see that these things are not there, right? And it is also objecting on this thing, that undefined property, etc. username. So but these attributes are not there. So it is always best practice that as an object is being created, right, as an object is being created, it must be initialized, right? So let me see this thing, or let me tell you this thing, that how can we do so. So let me duplicate these files and make new files so that you can understand that how can we do this thing, right? So we come back over here, we duplicate it, say this is class.user2.php, right? And I duplicate this index file also. I come over here and I say duplicate, right, index2.php. So in this way, once you want to see the code, there would be one user one which is working with index one, user two is working with index two, so that you can have a good understanding that what's going on over here. Are you getting me? Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We come back over here, we save it, right? And we close this one thing, right? This one and this one also. And let me go and populate your class.user2.php. So here I come over here in the constructor, and in the constructor I say that, hey, this is going to have an ID. This is going to have an ID. So I say $ID, comma, this is going to have a first name, $first name. This is going to have a last name, right? This is going to have an email address, email, $email, and this is going to have a password. Right? So this is a constructor, and it is not an empty constructor anymore. It is going to have all these various parameters, right? So once it is going to have all these various parameters, definitely we want to use these parameters to initialize the internal attributes of this class, right? So we can come over here, we can say, look, if we want to access the attributes of a class from within the class, we'll say $this, right? $this means this object, right? $this arrow ID, right, is equal to $ID, right? So here this $this ID is this attribute, and this ID over here refers to this variable which is being passed as parameter to the constructor. Right, guys? Dinesh, are you getting me?
So can you repeat on the last step?
Yeah, sure. So for example, I can have it over here, I, and I over here, right? So basically whatever over here will come over here, but this is what? This is the attribute of the class, $this underscore ID, right? So it refers to this particular ID, which is defined in line number 7.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yes, got it.
Right? Arun Teja, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Anvish Reddy, are you good?
Yes, sir. Right.
Shri Yash?
Yes, sir.
Ankit Rao?
Yes, sir.
And Manthan? Okay, great, right? So let me put it back ID, because I want to have the same kind of names so that we don't lose their tracks. And similarly, we come over here, we say $this first name is equal to $first name, right? So once again, $this arrow first name refers to this attribute, and this $first name refers to this parameter which will be passed. Right? Got it? Hello, everybody.
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Then say $this arrow last name is equal to $last name. We say $this email is equal to $email, and $this and password is equal to $password. Right? So once we have got them all over here, right? So now we are initializing them, right? So now if we do this thing, we save this thing, and we come back over here and try to use this empty constructor over here, By the way, here we need to include user2.php, right? So save it and let's try to use it over here, reload it. We are still doing 1, so let me go to 2. Right? You can see that we have got this error, right? What is this error? They are saying too few arguments in function construct. So it is saying that actually this constructor is going to get how many arguments? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whereas you have given only how many? You have given only 0, nothing, right? So we need to come back over here and we need to say that this user, hey user, your ID is maybe 20. Your first name is, for example, Frank. Your last name is, for example, Louis. Your what else is there? Your email is, for example, any email, right? And your password is, for example, 1, 2, 3, right? So do we have 5 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we have 5 of them. Save it, right? And now if we run the code, right, this error is gone and the code is working, right? Though still is saying that undefined property. So why? Because we have not defined it within the class. We have not defined it even over here. So let's define it over here. Username FL. Save it, right? And reload the code. Right? That notice has gone and username is also being printed. Right? If we want to change something over there, for example, we come over here and say, for example, we want to change the email address, right? So we come over here, we say user1 email is fl at ut, right? Say, for example, we just gave any fake email address over here, save it, right? And we come back, reload it. You can see that previously it was any mail. If we reload it, that is replaced by fl at ut, right? So basically the deal here is that in this particular module, we learned that how can we populate the constructor, that now it is going to take some parameters and we can initialize our object according to those parameters, right? So previously we had empty constructor. Now we have a constructor which is taking parameters. Any questions so far?
Okay.
Got it? Okay. So before I go ahead and punch in the next version of this particular class with you, let me teach you a little bit about PHP classes, PHP arrays, right? Sorry. So let me close this folder and let me have a new folder over here, and the folder is arrays, PHP arrays, PHP arrays, right? And here let me create a file, new file, PHP arrays.php, right? And let me put some HTML template and h1 knowing arrays, right? And as I need to have some more functions about arrays, I will keep on populating this particular file, right? But for the time being, I just want to tell you whatever I need it immediately out of arrays, right? So save it. We come back over here. Let's open this particular file also. Copy, paste. right? And here we have PHP arrays folder, and let me open this PHP array folder, right? So let me go over there in the code. Let me open PHP tag here. Say I want to have an array, right? So dollar my first array. So in PHP, we can make an array like this, as we make in others, right? So first array, and we can put like 20, 10, right? A string, right? A bool, anything, right? So this is an array where we have just placed anything. So if we come over here and we have a PHP tag and we want to dump this array, so we can say var dump, right? Variable dump. And what do we want to dump? We want to dump my first array. Right? So see, how does this look like? Right? So we have got this array with 4 characters. So it is like index 0 is an int of value 20. Index 1 is an int of value 10. Index 2 is a string of length 8, a string. Index 3 is a bool with the value true. Right? So what do I want to tell you over here? What is the message?
Array can hold any type of like
Yeah,
value.
so basically, unlike C++ or
Yeah.
C or Java, right? An array can hold any, mixed kind of things, right? And this is an indexed array, right? Starting is index from 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever the index is, right? Got it? Okay. So this is an array. There could be another way to make an array. So I say my associate array. Associate array. So for example, we can make this array, same bracket, right? Semicolon. And we can, okay, actually, if we want, we can break this array also in various lines, right? For example, we can put an enter sign here if we want. It is not a problem. So my associate array. Associate array is like name value pair. What is that? Name value pair. Say, for example, I can say within quotes ID, and then I say its value is, say, for example, 30, comma. I can say first name is having a value, say, for example, Menthan, comma, right? Then I can say last name is going to have value, say, for example, Patel, right? And then, for example, email, for email, I can have a value of maybe MP at some mail, right? And then we can have what? Say, for example, password. I may have a value of 1, 2, 3, maybe a number, maybe a string, right? So I have this array. And by the way, if I want to dump this array also, I can come over here. I can open a PHP tag. And I can say var dump and whatever the name of the array. Save it, right? And let's run the code. So now we have this second array, right? It has 5 elements. So it has first name, string of 7 characters, right? So starting from ID, right? So ID is 30, right? First name is a string, 7 characters, Menthan, right? Last name is again a string, right? 5 characters, tail, and it has all these various things. If we want to see it a little bit better formatted, we can do that also. We can come back over here and maybe we can enclose it in a tag which is known as pre. So pre tag is good to show the code and arrays as they are dumped. So we can come over here, place it over here, save it, right? And let's reload it. Reload it. It would be better formatted now, right? So you can see it better. That just, it looks good. Any questions so far?
No problem.
Absolutely no question, right? So these arrays are known as associated arrays, right? And we want to put all these attributes in associated arrays, right? So this is our convention, or you can say that it makes our life easy if we put all the attributes in an associated array, right? So let's see how do we do it. So we come back over here. Let's close it. Okay, by the way, one more thing. Let's open it again. Where is that? PHP arrays, right over here. Let me open it. One more thing over here. If I want to reach them individually, right? If I want to reach them individually, say for example, paragraph, and I want to reach them individually, I want to say for example, first name, right? I can have a PHP tag here, PHP tag, and I can say echo whatever the name of the array, whatever the name of the array, sub first name, right? So this is how we can reach the internals of the array, right? So my associated array, and then whatever the element we want to reach, right? So we come over here, reload the page, and you can see this thing, that first name, and we have this Menthan, right? And what is this? Why are these quotes here? Let me see. Oh, we put the quotes, right? So let me remove the quotes because this is HTML, so we need not to have quotes over here. Save it and reload it, right? So first name is Menthan. Any question? Any questions so far, guys?
No problem.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh, okay, great. So basically, I want to put all these attributes into a associate array, right? So I come over here. Let me close this file. Let me duplicate it. This index2.html, let me duplicate and make index3.php, right? index3.php, and let me duplicate class.user2.php, and let me duplicate it as class.user3.php, right? Are you getting me? What is the nomenclature over here? That once you are looking at class.user3, right, you'll see index3, right? In this way, you will know that which code to see how, and the last number would be the ultimate product, that how do we actually make classes. I don't want to make that actual class right away, because then it would be quite a bit of problem that, hey, how did we reach over here? So I am walking you to that point that where we'll make actual classes. Right? Got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Great. So I was saying that I want to put them all into an array. So I say that public attributes, right, is equal to an array. Wait a minute. So public attributes, right? Let me see, why is this error coming? Or dollar is missing, right? Public dollar attributes, right? So we say public dollar attributes is an array, right? And let me have this array as associated array. I say one element is ID, and for the time being, its value is null. Another attribute over here is, next attribute is first name, right? Another index is first name, and its value is again also what? Null, right? We can have some default value, but for the time being, I'm having them null all. So, and then I say that last name and its value for the time being is also null, right? Then we say that it is going to have an email address, so email, and its value is also going to be null, right? And then I say that it has a password, and its value is also going to be null, right? So we can remove them all from here, right? So this is a public array, right? This is a public array which is having all its indices, all these indices values equal to null, right? So let's initialize it now. So once we want to initialize it, we say this, and then we put this around it, sorry, this around it, and then we surround it by this, and then we say attributes, right? Are you getting me? That this particular class $this arrow attributes sub ID is equal to ID, right? And similarly over here we say, come over here, surround it with bracket, surround it with quotes, and let's have this attributes over here, Control C, Control V, right? Similarly for the last name, Control V. Similarly with the email address, Control V. Similarly with the password, because they are no more individual entities, they are within the array, right? So we have placed them in the array and have initialized them also accordingly. Guys, if you think I'm moving fast, please ask questions. Yes, you are getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, so once we have done so, let's save it, right? And let's close two index files. Close this also. So come over here, and now we want to require class.user3.php, right? And now if we want to access, for example, email, we are going to access it like this. We are going to enclose it with the bracket, and of course within quotes and attributes, right? And similarly, this thing also. Okay, let's do this thing, for example. And if we want to have them displayed, so we need to do something like this again, right? So we have to have them in bracket, we have to have them in quotes, we have to have this attributes word in front of it, right? Similarly over here, we need to have them in brackets, in quotes, and we have to have this attribute word in front of it, right? Similarly over here, we need to have it within bracket, within quotes, and we have to have this attributes words in front of it. Right, guys? Are you getting me? Right?
Yes, sir.
And similarly for the password. Right? Similarly for the password. So let's have this username, for granted over here, right? So this is not part of the attributes array, so it would be created on the fly, right? For this, since we have not prevented it yet, right? I am going to show you very soon that how are we going to prevent it, but for now we have not prevented it yet, right? So let's run this code and see that now it's working good. Okay, let me come over here. Let me reload. What is the name of the file? Let me go back. I'm accessing PHP classes and I want to have index3.php. So you can see this thing that it is happening as we want it to happen. Right, guys? Hello, everybody.
Yes, bro.
Okay, great. So once we have done so, let us move ahead with further. Yes, please. Then Dinesh, you have a question?
No problem.
Okay, right. So let us do further one more
Sir,
step. Yes, my dear.
so in the code, we are mentioning the attribute array with the
Attributes is an array,
attribute
right?
name, right? What if we mention the attribute index number? It will show the attribute name.
Okay. So you mean to say that over here, if
Yeah.
instead of this ID we say 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it is not going to work if it, for example, if you say 0, right? So save it and it will tell you that there is no index 0, right? So it is telling that no undefined offset 0, right? So since we have not made it index array, so it will not work. Got it?
Sir.
Arun Teja, was this your question and is it answered properly, my dear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, great. Any other question, guys? Okay, so let's move a little bit ahead and say for example, look here. what is happening over here? Let me see that what do I want to tell you first. You know, there are a couple of things I want to tell you, but we need to see that what do I want to tell you first. Okay, so the deal here is that, look, so we can reach out these particular variables in any way we want. We have settled it, you know, a wrong email address which is not even valid, right? We have actually, you know, created a new attribute on the fly. So this is not very neat. This is messy, and sometimes, you know, it may create some problem for you, and definitely it is against the principles of object-oriented programming. What principle it is? The last one. The last one is encapsulation. So the principle of encapsulation says that every class is responsible for the welfare of its internal attributes. So for example, if an attribute is an email address, that class must make it sure that nobody from outside the class would give us an invalid email address, and we will have it. Are you getting me? So every class is responsible for its internals. So currently it is happening that somebody is giving us a number for email address, and we are getting that number for an email address. Someone is giving invalid I'm sorry, somebody is giving us an invalid password, say, which is not according to our policy. We are getting that password. So this is not good. So the principle of object-oriented programming says that every class must be responsible for its internals, right? So once a class is responsible for its internals, right, we say, okay, very good. So class must be responsible for its internals. So it means that we should not give a public access to this internals, right? So we come back over here. Let me duplicate it. So let me say that this is, let me duplicate it. Say index 4.php. And here I duplicate this user 3 into class.user4.php. Save it. Let us, you know, let us close 3 versions, version 3, right? And let us come over here within the class. Let's come over here within the class, right? And make this attributes array as private, right? So now this attributes array has become private. Once it is private, nobody can access it from outside the class. Say, for example, we come over here. What do you think? Where the first error should come? Yes, what do you think? Where the first error should come? Look, this is an error, line number 7, because you are trying to reach user1 attributes, right? You are trying to reach user1 attributes, right? And this attributes array is no more public, it is now private. So this is definitely an error. Are you guys getting me? Is it overwhelming now? Okay, let me do this thing at this moment. Let me send you this code and let's take a little bit of break, and then we meet after the break so that you have this chance to look into the code yourself and understand it and get back to me with some issues if there are any, right? Right, guys? Would it work?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So we come back over here. We have saved everything. So we say cd dot dot cd object oriented design and programming summer 2020 get status, right? I am on this branch master and these are unchecked files, right? So I say, am I on master? On branch master, yes. So git add dot git commit -m first lecture on classes. Right, and get status. So branch master, right? Nothing to commit. Good. So I say get push. Right. So I have sent the code, right? Somebody, Ankit, would you like to share your screen with me so that we can see that you are getting the code? Let me stop share.
Actually, sir, this is not my working laptop.
Oh, okay. Somebody else, my dear. Thank you very much. No problem.
I'll share, Professor.
So who wants to share their screen?
I'll share.
Okay, please, Dinesh, go on. So open your editor first of all. Editor. Yes, you are in the editor. So show me the folder which you already have. Don't do git yet, right? So wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, so show me in the editor. So this is this, right? Basics, you have basics, you have cookies, right? You don't have that today's file. So you are in the working directory. Very good. PWD's program working directory.
Yes, Professor.
Okay, great. So you are in the directory. So write git status. You're on master. Master branch is behind origin master by one commit, right? So it means that you have pulled something already in origin master, but you have not merged it, right?
Yeah, I just fetched, Professor.
Oh, you have already done it, right.
Just fetched it.
So you have just fetched it. So you need to merge, right?
Yes,
So
Professor.
just say git merge space origin / master. Right, so you have merged, clear screen, and you have got the code, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have the code? Yes, you have got the code, right? Anybody else wants to share? Please stop share.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm very happy that you were so much proactive and you got it already. Wonderful. So anybody else? Arun Teja, would you like to share your screen, my dear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So take me to your code editor.
Yes, sir.
And you have the previous code, right?
Yes, sir.
And you don't have today's code, right? Okay.
I don't have today's code.
Okay, let's go back to your, and mind this thing that once you need to work, you create your own branch and work in that branch and keep master for my code merger, right? So in this way, it would be easy for you to get my code. So you come over here and show me git status. Oh, you have already, so not a git repository. So go to that particular folder. You are
Yeah,
not in that folder, right?
yeah, yes, sir.
ed to that folder. So if you don't know the path, get the path and paste the path over here. Yeah, get the path from here. Click here. Yes, copy this string. cd to this path and cls git status. Right. So not on a git repository.
Not
This,
a,
so maybe so show me dir. Right. So here you have this ODP summer 2020 CD ODP summer 2020.
I'm sorry.
CD.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This one is.
Yeah. So just CD.
Okay. Just
No problem. As you wish.
CD. Oh,
Right. CLS. Right. So just punch in git status. Right. On branch. Arun Teja, nothing to commit, right? So you are working on your own branch, very good, right? And now there is nothing to commit, right? And you can check this thing that there is no unsaved work also. Go to your editor, Atom. Okay, there is nothing to save, right? So please
there is
minimize
nothing,
it.
sir.
Minimize it. Right, and here punch in git checkout
Okay, I'm sorry.
master, right? You need to check out something, so you need to tell that what do you want to check out. So you are on the branch master, so as check status, git status, right? On your branch is up to date with origin/master, nothing to commit. You're working trees clean. Show me the branch in editor, Atom. Show me the code in Atom. Right, so basically you don't have today's code, so go back over there in the terminal. Okay, here write git fetch, enter. Right, so basically it has fetched all these things. Now take git status. No, just git status, right? Now it will tell you that on branch master, your branch is behind origin/master, right? It is saying your branch is behind origin/master by one commit, right? So what is origin/master? So just for your knowledge, git branch -a, git branch space -a, right? Enter. All branches, you can see that you have one branch with the name Arun Teja, you have one branch with the name master, and then we have this branch with the name remote and origin master, right? And this origin master is basically the one where you have got my code. Now you want to merge that code into your master branch. So you say git merge. You are in the master branch currently, so you say git merge origin/master, right? Enter, right? And you have got all this code, right? And no error, no issues. Go back in the editor.
I got everything.
Yeah, go back in the editor. We need to, yeah, so you have got everything, right? So basically
Yes.
you have got the code, and I would invite you to look into the code and see if there is any issue, right? We can discuss it right away. Meanwhile,
Yes.
you can just stop sharing now. Meanwhile, I will encourage anyone who wants to know this procedure and they have some kind of confusion about it to work with me on it so that you can get these updates properly. Yes, Avinash, you want to do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Please share your screen. Okay, great.
I think
So
so.
do you have that already, that folder?
Yeah,
Yeah,
modified.
2020. So show me this folder in your editor
Yes.
first.
Yes, sir. Right, please.
And show me this folder in your editor like Atom.
And
Probably you are not sharing your full screen with us.
I'm
So please share your full screen with us so that we can see anything we want to see.
okay.
So that you can, understand it better. Yeah, you can share it again.
Yes, sir.
Share your screen. So here, for example, you don't want to show us Atom?
Sorry, sir.
Do you want to show us Atom, your code in the editor? Or maybe in Visual Studio Code, whatever you are using?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Okay, great. So basically show me the folder, our folder within the editor maybe. Okay, great. So I don't see, okay, he wants to show us over here. So
Yeah.
so go to this ODP Summer 2020. One folder back. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, open this folder. Okay, you have the previous code. You don't have today's code, right? Now you have got the code already.
Yes, sir. I have done it.
Okay, you have done it. So there
Yes.
is no need to show us then.
While I'm connecting you, it's happens.
Okay. So please stop share. Okay, great. Anybody else? Shri Yash, have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think I was working with who? I was working with Dinesh. No, I was working with Avinash. Avinash, would you please share your screen again?
Yes.
So please go to your command prompt once again.
This is common.
Okay, so here, so we are at this folder, right? And we have got everything. So let's do one more thing. We say git status once again. Right? So you're on Run Master, everything is done, good. So now say git branch, just say git branch.
I have my phone, Avinash.
Huh?
I have my Avinash.
So just punch in git branch.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay.
Ask
So
Dinesh to own the car.
git branch, and you are at master branch, right? Say now
Yes,
you
sir.
want to work with this Avinash branch, right? So you say git checkout Avinash. Right? Avinash, SH.
Yes, sir.
Right? And you are switched to Avinash branch. Go back over there in the editor, code editor. So you are using Visual Studio Code. Very good. So go back to Visual Studio Code.
I couldn't see my files. I couldn't see.
So please look, once you share your screen with me, share your entire screen so that we just don't see your, yeah, here, right? So please show me your folder. Just close these files.
Yes, sir. This is my phone.
Yeah, where is the folder? I don't see the folder.
Uh,
Can't you see the folder in Visual Studio
One
Code?
second. 1 second.
Okay, please.
This is my folders.
Okay, let me ask for code editor. Just remote control. Request remote control. Send request. Okay, thank you very much. Let me control it. When I ask you to show me your code in the editor, I mean this. For example, I will open this editor, go over here. What has happened to it? What is this? Can you minimize this window showing up at the front? Okay, great. Minimize it. Right, thank you very much. Minimize this command window also. Okay, minimize this other command window also. There are a bunch of them. Minimize them all.
1 second.
Okay, thank you. And now let us go to this Visual Studio Code. Okay, what is this thing open?
PHP class force.
Okay, let me close them all. Save it if you want to save it. This is something else.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, right. Just close it. Close this also. Okay.
Yes.
So now let's come over here. Okay. Okay. So wait a minute. What is this window? Why it's not going down? Okay, yes, now. Okay, now this is file. So just close this also. Would you please close all these open files?
Yeah.
Please
Yes, sir.
close them all. Okay, great, thank you. Go to file and here open folder, not this one. Open folder and here open the folder, main folder. Yes. So once I asked you to show me in the folder, you need to show me this thing, okay? So you can see this thing that here,
Okay.
let's close this welcome screen. So it does not have those files you have just obtained, right? Because you are on the Avinash branch, right?
Yes, sir.
So now open the command prompt.
Yes, sir.
Open the command prompt.
Yes, sir.
I cannot see it yet.
I think so. I have some problem with my Wi-Fi. Sir.
Or maybe, yes, so we can wait, don't worry. So we come over here and you are on the branch Avinash, right? So here we say
Yes, sir.
git merge, git merge master, right? So you want to merge master branch into your current branch, which is Avinash, right? So you are getting my code into your working code, right? So
Yes, sir.
we do so,
Yes, sir.
right? So you have got this commit done. You are fast forwarded, go down, press enter,
Yes,
right? So you are fast forwarded to this branch,
I
right?
got my code.
And you got your code. So show us in the editor code, Visual Studio Code. And you can see this thing that now my code has been merged into your code, right? So basically you can work
Yes,
on
sir.
it now, right? So the deal here is
Yes,
that master branch would have purely my code, and the other branch would have my code and your code working on it, right? And then as you need to merge, you will merge from master to your branch.
thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Got it? So
Yes,
this
sir.
would be our workflow on Git. So I think that I will stop over here because today's lecture was quite a bit overwhelming. Expect a small quiz in Monday's lecture. So please work on this code, and I will test this thing that you have a good understanding about this code, right? So try to
Yes.
play with the code and see that how does this code behave. Any questions so far? Okay, if there is no question, I will stop here and have a great rest of the day. I will see you all on Monday. And if you want to have me for office hours, you can stay in this communication. Otherwise, you can simply drop out. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Professor.
Yes, please. Just a minute.